Ajñānatimirandasya jnana-jana-shalakaya Chakshurunmiritam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Today we study from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 20, verse 14. Etad vidvān purā mṛityor, abha-vāya ghaṭeta saḥa, apra-matta idaṁ jñātvā, martyam apy-artha-sidhi-dam. Knowing that although the material body is subject to death, a wise person can still attain the perfection of one's life and should not foolishly neglect to take advantage of this opportunity before death arrives. You see, death will meet everyone. We are on earth for a certain moment of time, but we live on earth as we would be immortal. The mind is scared that one day it will be shut down. Only the consciousness will be here. Once Garuda, the vehicle of Shriman Narayana, had a friend called Galava. And the sage said once to Garuda, "I have an urgent business to attend in a far city. Could you please help me and bring me to this place?" Garuda, out of friendship, said, "Yes, I will fly you there in no time. Don't worry about it." As they were flying midway, the sage said to Garuda, "Listen, I just figured out that we don't need to go there. I could sort it out already in the same place. So let's return back." "Okay," said Garuda, "but listen, not far away there is a small island. Let's stop here, rest a little bit, eat some food, then we can carry on our journey." And the sage said, "Yes." So they reached the island, and as they reached this island in the middle of the ocean, it was just a hill. They sat down, they rest, they were eating some fruits. Then they realized, there is a lady, an ascetic lady, who was living on this island. So they paid respect to her. Her name was Maharishi Sandili. And she gave them so much food and so much things to eat and to drink that after they had to rest. Garuda was thinking, what does this lady is doing here? There are so many holy places in the world. Why does she live here in this strange place? So having that on his mind, he fell asleep. But when he woke up, Garuda realized, my wings are cut off. They were severed and it was just a lump of flesh. The rishi, looking at it, asked Garuda, "But what did you do? It must be a huge punishment because, Garuda is such a very strong bird, strong deva, that no one can really harm him like that." The sage asked Garuda, "What did you do?" "I did not do anything, I was sleeping." "Yeah, for sure, you did something. What did you think?" And Garuda told him, "I was thinking that why this lady is here living, because there is so many holy places in the world. Why is she doing her tapasya here, in this hilly place where there is nothing?" Then the sage said to Garuda, "This is the punishment. Due to this thought that you have been punished by losing your wings. Because you should have think that for a saint, for a Vaishnava, God resides in their heart. And God resides in their being. So each part of them, the divine resides. And by even thinking that this place is not holy, you have made a great offense. By thinking that, you should know by thinking that you did a great offense to this woman. Because a saint is completely involved in the divine. He is an ocean of mercy. So you should go to the woman and ask for forgiveness." So you see, this story makes one realize that each part of our body is a temple, not only where our soul resides. Those who are truly, sincerely surrendered, not superficially, not halfway, they will perceive this. But people which are superficial, of course, for them God is only in one place, in the temple or in the church or in the mosque, nowhere else. They are bound by the limitation of things. You see, for a bhakta, for somebody who truly loves God, they perceive Him in their own being. Each part of them radiates the love of God from their head to the toe. Each hair of them has the vibration of God, because it is the divine who lives in them. So when the mind is completely surrendered, it's only God which manifests through that. That's why in the Christian tradition, we honor the relics also, because they carry the love of the divine, they carry the vibration of the divine. Also, if it's only bones, but these bones have been purified, they vibrate the love of the divine. That's why in India, you see many samadhis of saints. And even if the soul has departed from the body, but the body has been sanctified, the body has transformed itself. Even if it is just bone, which are lying inside the tomb of the samadhi, it has the vibration of God. So death cannot kill this vibration. And for a bhakta, which is surrender, he has to know that Shriman Narayana resides in each part of his true devotees. When we are chanting the name of the Lord, we glow. But where does this glow comes from? We are the same person. But before chanting and after chanting, what is the difference? What has changed? What is radiating through us? That is the love of God. The awakening of the spiritual life comes sometimes suddenly. This realization that, oh my God, I have to do something else as just eat, sleep, and do the best I can to enjoy this life. No, the real meaning of life and its purpose comes as a reminder given often by the Guru. That was the case for Fakhriddin Attar, the great mystic poet of Persia. First, he made a living as a chemist, a dispenser of medicines, before he gave up the world and became a seeker of God. And his change from one way of living to the other was very sudden. One day, so Attar was busy by attending to his patients, and a dervish came by begging for alms. Attar paid no attention to him and pretended not to hear him. And though the dervish was very insistent and continued to beg for charity, Attar turned completely deaf ear to all his pleadings. Finally, the dervish, in utter exasperation, shouted at the top of his lungs, "Attar, I am surprised that you keep attending to your business, but you don't seem to know what your real business is. I'm wondering, Attar, just how will you die?" And Attar answered, "Well, just as you will die, my friend." The dervish asked, "But do you really mean that, Attar? Do you speak from your heart?" "Yes," Attar replied. And at that moment, the dervish stretched out on the ground in front of Attar's shop and uttered in a loud voice, "God be praised." Looking down at him, Attar saw that he had died. He had expired in a flash. Attar understood the dervish challenge, but then he began to ask himself, what is my real business in this world? to look after this shop, or to take up the only worthwhile endeavor in the world, the search of God. Then he shut up the shop. He put on the robe of a mendicant and began to go and beg with his bowl. He began like this his divine mission, which led him at the end to full enlightenment. So you see, in this story, the guru, by dying and asking him this question, remembered him of the true dharma of life. The guru is the one who comes to remember us about the reason we came on earth and what is our purpose in life. Once a female lion died by killing a goat. She was pregnant and gave birth to a little baby. She died after this. So the little baby baby lion, was growing up among the sheep who were there. He was acting like a sheep. He was eating grass. He was making noise like the other sheep, bah, bah. And the lion sheep was doing everything like a sheep. Once, an old lion came, and looking to this lion, he was wondering, what is this lion doing? So he took him close to a lake and showed him the face that he had, that they were looking the same. He learned him to roar. He put some flesh inside the mouth of the little lion and teach him to just kill other animals to eat. So he made him a real lion. And it is what the teacher, what the guru is doing. It tells you, you are not just human, you are divine. If you follow my advice, I will lead you to complete realization, to the divine. And it's like this, when all the ego and the pride is erased, then stayed the surrender to the divine. The Sadguru finds the disciple only when the disciple urges for a teacher. And when we put our arrogance by the side, God will let us to Him, and He will let us feel His divine love. And then we will have joy all the time. We will treasure this love. Once there was a king who left his palace one morning for a horseback tied around the surrounding countryside. He became lost in the forest. And he looked around him, and he was completely feared when he saw that the tiger was coming towards him. So he went down from his horse quickly and climbed a nearby tree. He was sitting on one branch of the tree. So the tiger came to the same tree and sat and waiting to devour the king whenever he will come down. So seeing this, the king began to test the branch on which he was sitting to be sure that it was strong enough to bear his weight. But as he was looking along, he saw with fear that two mice, one white and one black, they were gnawing the inner end of the branch where he was sitting. So the king thought, what can I do? I'm trapped. There is no way to escape. He looked down on the ground and to see where he would fall down when the branch will give away, and whether the earth below was hard or soft. But another terrifying sight was waiting to him, because beside the tiger there was a huge python with his jaws wide open, waiting him to fall down. And the situation seemed desperate. He suddenly saw that honey was dripping from a branch above his head, so he began to lick at it. The honey had an amazing effect. The king, absorbed in its sweetness, soon became completely oblivious of his danger. The tiger, the mice, and the python were all forgotten as he became more and more enchanted with the taste of the marvelous honey. So, in a short time, of course, the mice gone through the branch and he fell to the ground, and the king, with a happy smile on his lips, was killed. The tree up which the king climbed in his search for safety symbolized this world, the dense and dark material also. So the tiger represents death, which eats every human being, every creature born into this world. The python is a grave. The branch on which the king sat represents the span of our life, whether it be 10, 20, 50, 80, 100 years or more. And the two mice are day and night, which inevitably shorten the span of life. So the honey symbolizes this world and its ephemeral pleasures, in which we become completely absorbed and forget death. So the result of becoming absorbed in the world pleasure is that, like the king, we die without discovering the true purpose of life. This is why the guru, the sadguru, has to come and remember and makes us remember what is the purpose of our life. Once there was a saint who visited the house of a tradesman who had been unsuccessful in his business and was very poor. When the saint arrived, the tradesman was weeping, crying bitterly. "Oh, august man of God," he begged, "please end my dreadful poverty out of your great mercy." The saint was filled with compassion for this poor guy, and he gave him a philosopher's stone, by which he could transmute from any metals into gold. "Here, my good man," the sage said, "take this stone, and with it make as much gold as you want. Keep it for 3 months, and then I will return and take it back." Okay, so during the first month, the tradesman went to the market and asked for the price of scrap iron. He was told that the price had just been raised from 5 to 7 rupees per 100 weight. "Oh, that's a high price," said the tradesman to himself. "It will be unwise to buy any iron now. I will wait until next month, when perhaps the price will fall down." It's completely stupid, isn't it? So he little realized that in a single 100 weight of iron, converting it to gold, he would make him a very rich man. But he waited for 1 month and then went again to the iron market, but this time the price of iron had risen still further. And he thought, what a fool will pay this price for iron. I better wait for 1 month more. But in the 3rd month he went again, and the price of gold of iron had soared for 15 rupees to 20. That's a crazy price, he thought to himself. The price is certain to go down sometime. Meanwhile, of course, the 3-month period was over. The sage came back and took back the philosopher's stone. And the tradesman went back to his poverty. This life we have our philosopher's stone. We are blessed to have it. And God lives inside of us. So if we don't use this stone, the Sadguru that blessed us, who took us to Him, who pulled us to Him, and is pulling us to the divine, then we are the most unfortunate people. So, like this tradesman, don't wait the end of your life to do your sadhana. Because this sadhana is a philosopher's stone. It transforms us from human to divine. And the Sadguru is much more than a philosopher's stone. Because Guruji said it. He said, the Sadguru transforms the devotee in himself. Meaning, we will, once we are God realized, acting like Him, we will help others to bring them to the divine, like the Sadguru is doing. So the ones who are rooted in deep meditation, not deviated by anything, when they leave the body, they will leave it with the same attitude, the same feeling. they will attain their spiritual bodies and the Supreme Lord Narayana. But for this, practice is very important. So you see, the mind is like water. Whatever is the form of the recipient you pour water into, the water takes that form. And for the mind it is the same. On whatever form you focus your mind, the mind will be crystallized into that form, and this will stay in the mind. So by regularly practicing Atma Kriya Yoga, it helps that the divine get crystallized inside our mind. And when the divine is crystallized in the mind, then at the time of death, the person will reach the divine. That's why Bhagavan Krishna says, whoever at the end abandons the body, thinking upon any form of being, to that forms he attains. So like the great saint, the great sage Jadabharata, if one gets attached to an animal or a stone also, I had a discussion with Guruji because the devotee was asking, what is the power of the stones? You know, there is some stone who vibrate high energy. And I was asking Guruji, what is if somebody, by dying, think about his lovely stones? Guruji said, he becomes a stone. Wow, for so long, until the stone, yes, Guruji said, millions of years, be reborn as a stone. So, but you know, a bhakta is the one who is surrendered to the master, and at the time of death, it is the master himself who will put the good thought inside the head of the bhakta. We should attach only to one thing, and the divine, and he will bless us with his divine power. Jai Gurudev.